Great referral is, look, this is a construction project.
Yeah.
People don't really talk about solar as being a construction project, but it is.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And if you've ever had a construction project in your home, which most every homeowner
Right.
has, they don't always go according to plan,
Sure.
right? So the key is did the contractor take care of it and make the homeowner satisfied?
Yeah.
That's a better referral. And looking at Bright Home Energy, you guys, you're top notch, and we're excited about that. And we feel that just aligns nicely with Maxeon's methodologies as well.
Yeah. What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning back in for another episode of the Be Bright podcast, where we talk about things in the solar industry, things outside of the solar industry, but we like to highlight bright people. And also today we're going to highlight a bright product. So here I have TJ with Maxeon. TJ, how you doing, man?
Fantastic. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. We've recently started to build a relationship together, and just felt like it was appropriate to kind of get the word out about you, about Maxeon. So if you don't mind, what we like to do on this is just learn a little bit about you as a person, maybe talk about your family, a little bit about your journey before you got to Maxeon, maybe anything that you feel like is pertinent, and then we'll take it from there.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. So again, I'm TJ Hauser. I'm a regional sales manager with Maxeon. I cover the state of Arizona, New Mexico, and Nevada.
All right, Southwest.
I grew up in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
ABQ.
My dad got a job with Sandia Labs when I was 9 months old there in Albuquerque, and I lived there until about 4 years ago. So I consider myself a native New Mexican.
Wow. So you've only been here for a few years then.
Yeah,
right?
about 4 years. It'll be
Nice.
4 years this June.
Cool.
So I got my start in sales in 2001 selling Harley-Davidson motorcycles in Albuquerque for a large dealer there. I did that for 7 years, at which point I sold Triumph and Ducati motorcycles for a little bit.
Sure.
And then in 2010, I became what we call an energy consultant or sales consultant with a solar company there in Albuquerque.
Sure.
That dealer was a SunPower dealer, and we can get into that a little bit. But as an energy consultant, in my first 2 years there, we achieved Dealer of the Year, which I was very proud of those accolades, considering Albuquerque's a small market.
Yeah.
So to achieve that was, I think, a great thing. I grew with that organization. I eventually left in 2017 as a general manager. There was only one other SunPower dealer in the market. It was run by an individual that I just knew personality-wise I wasn't going to get along with.
Sure.
And so I got out of solar. I went into sales, selling Mercedes-Benz for a bit. And then I got into HVAC sales, in-home sales. So I kind of came full circle back into in-home sales, which I enjoy and I like. And HVAC is actually ultimately what brought me out here to Phoenix.
Cool.
I was doing HVAC here for a bit. And then in 2022, the opportunity came to become a regional sales manager with SunPower. And ironically, my manager at SunPower, when I got hired at SunPower, was our regional sales manager when I was with the solar company back in Albuquerque in 2010. So I kind of came full circle, so to speak. I always wanted to sell SunPower product and or really what is called Maxeon IBC technology.
Sure.
And we'll get into that a little bit. But he even asked me, he's like, so you sure you want to get back into solar? And I was like, well, I never really wanted to get out. I said, I just didn't have anywhere to go when I was in Albuquerque.
Right.
So it just worked out. So I was with SunPower for 2 years until March of last year. Things going on with SunPower that I had some concerns about their longevity. And unfortunately last year they did file bankruptcy in September, which is too bad, 40-year long standing company.
Yeah.
But I'm super excited to be with the Maxeon team, selling what I consider the best product, best warranty, best performing panel in the marketplace.
Awesome. Yeah, and we're going to get into that. And what I kind of liked about your background from the beginning is like you just strike me as somebody that's like always kind of attracted yourself to quality.
Correct.
Especially in the solar industry and other things you can sell. Obviously, it's like you kind of find your niche. And I think Maxeon, which we'll get into, kind of really goes along those same lines of actually being a very quality product. It's not the cheapest out there. Yep. Just to share a few, being on the other side of SunPower. So I started in solar 10 years ago, And back then it was like you only worked for Vivint, Solar City, SunPower, Sunrun. And that was basically it. And I just remember, like, if we ever saw a SunPower lease quote, we could never touch it, not only for the pricing, but like the product. And that's one thing that I'll say is obviously SunPower, Maxion, we'll get into it, like kind of for a long time we're hand in hand. Now obviously not so much, but it was like SunPower panels. And like being back then just a very infant solar sales rep, it's like we never sold on panels. We're just like, dude, did they get electricity somehow and it's going to lower your bill and that's it, right? Which, you know, isn't probably the best way looking back. But, you know, as far as that goes, I mean, for you, I guess kind of walk me through that, maybe the final portion of being at SunPower. Like, was that something you just kind of saw writing on the wall? How did it kind of go to Maxion? Because Maxion and SunPower were together. Like, if you don't mind, maybe just going over that relationship and then what led you to Maxion.
So SunPower started in 1985. They designed, engineered, and patented IBC technology, Maxion IBC technology, and that was the DNA that made SunPower the formidable force that it was. Okay. In 2020, SunPower decided to sell off manufacturing. They got out of manufacturing and so spun off Maxion. So Maxion was basically manufacturer and SunPower was sales organization similar to Vivint and Sunrun and so on and so forth. However, SunPower had exclusivity to Maxion panels.
Okay.
So though we were still manufacturing panels, they were all going to SunPower. Then in 2022 or 2021, there were some leadership changes at SunPower. Decisions were made that kind of went against the agreement that was between the two parties. And so, you know, Maxion then started to build its own dealer network, right? And in 2024, in January, was when Maxion and SunPower's partnership ended.
Gotcha.
Maxion delivered their last panels to SunPower. But when they did spin off in 2020, Maxion took all the patents. So we've got over 1,900 patents now. And those patents are what really gives differentiation in our product compared to everything else. Like you said, you know, solar is solar. And for the most part, all solar is really the same, right? Or as we would understand it. But when you look at Maxion IBC technology, it is fundamentally different from other solar products out there. And when we have the opportunity to sit down with your sales teams, train them on how to sell on value, it's a compelling argument why a homeowner would want to go with a Maxion product versus anything else out there in the marketplace.
Yeah, and you know, that's the thing is obviously there's many ways to go solar. Like you can lease it, you can buy it outright, you can finance the system, you know, and what's kind of crazy to think about is like most of the standard warranties in the industry now are 25 years. And even when I'm sitting down with a customer talking to them, they're just like, oh, I won't be around in 25 years, or wow, that's a long time. Like there is some extent to this. Like none of us have like this crystal ball to know exactly how things are going to last. But what really kind of struck our eye about the Maxion panel was their warranty. So now might be a good transition if you want to talk a little bit about some of the differentiators between just a standard solar panel, Maxion, from just anything, you know, as far as layman's terms as best as possible, if you kind of want to educate us on that.
Absolutely. So, you know, I've been using the acronym IBC technology, right? That's interdigitated back contact.
Say
right?
that 5 times
Say that
fast.
3 times fast.
Yeah.
Right? No, thank you. So really what that is our cell technology has a copper backsheet, and all the grid lines that you traditionally see on a normal solar panel or cell is on the back side of our cell. Okay. They're more intense. What I mean is there's a lot more of them, so it allows the cell to capture more of the energy that's produced, but it's not shading the front of the cell. But our copper backsheet also creates a lot of integrity for the cell. You know, SunPower used what we'd call a cell break kit, and we have that same kit now, which is a demonstration of how a cell from Maxion is different from other technologies out there, what everybody else sees. We additionally, in our cell or in our panel manufacturing, we use a different adhesive, right? Most manufacturers are using an EVA, an ethylene vinyl acetate. that is not moisture resistant. Okay, so if there's moisture that if you get cracking in a panel from whether it be shaking from wind,
Right.
manufacturing, shipping, installation, right, a cell can get cracked and cause a leak through that encapsulant, as we call it, causes corrosion. There's a failure point for that panel. Maxeon uses what we call a polyolefin elastomer. Again, say that one 3 times fast. That is moisture resistant.
I would like to say that once.
Right? Now, that is moisture resistant. So that's a huge thing. So even if there is cracks in the cell, it resists the moisture, so we don't have issues there. Our glass is a little thicker. It's capable of taking hailstones, 45 millimeter, which is a big hailstone.
Sure.
Here in the Phoenix market, obviously, I cover Arizona, New Mexico, and Nevada. I jokingly say the 3 hottest markets in the country, right? Not a lot of moisture issues, right?
Yeah.
But we do have a lot of temperature swings, right? Heat coefficients. Sure. And so our panel technology, our cell technology, covers a greater spectrum of light. Okay, so it'll capture more sunlight, creating more energy for the homeowner over the life of the system. So all those things, which again are patented by our 1900 patents, right, gives us the ability to, one, provide a homeowner a 40-year warranty.
Sure.
We have less than 1 in 20,000 panel failure rate.
Wow.
Right, which is huge. So the chance of there being a problem with a module is slim to none for a homeowner.
Sure.
Typically, if there's a warranty issue with a system, it's either inverter or other balance of system items on the system and not necessarily the panel. But even if there was an issue with a Maxeon panel, IBC technology, we still cover the shipping and the labor, which other manufacturers do not do.
Right.
Right. So I jokingly say we have the best warranty that you'll never need. Right.
It's good.
But it's a great peace of mind because it's 40 years versus 25. Plus our degradation rates, we publish a 0.25% degradation rate, which a lot of other manufacturers do.
Right.
But we also think there's proof in the pudding, right?
Sure.
So NREL, for example, has done a study. They looked at 800,000 modules out there in the marketplace. And they looked at these modules, and most of them had a 0.25% degradation rate. But the performance of their systems, the degradation rate was more than double the published degradation rate. So some of them were, ours is 0.25, theirs is 0.25. They're performing at 0.67 or greater. We were the only module manufacturer that performed better than our published degradation rate.
Gotcha.
We were at 0.21, right? So again, over the life of the system, we're going to produce more energy than anybody else out there. And again, that's a third-party entity. It's not us, right? Our warranty, we stand behind power at 88% at year 40.
Wow.
Most manufacturers at 88% at year 25.
Maybe,
right?
yeah.
So again, a fantastic warranty, fantastic technology, the most efficient technology, great heat coefficient, which is important for Phoenix. Right. We get hot here.
Yeah. No. And a couple I think things that really sort of drew us to Maxeon is, solar right now has changed quite a bit. Yes. In a lot of ways. I mean, over the past 10 years of it really being a viable industry kind of mainstream, there's been tons of changes, but especially the last 1 to 2 years, like so many companies that went out of business, speaking of SunPower. And I think if you kind of look at trends on a lot of them, it seems like more than anything, they were going for quantity over quality. Whether it comes to the products that they're using, the methods they're using to get deals, like going to the dealer model, low red lines, just let's try to get a bunch of volume with low margins, which really isn't sustainable long term. But also it was working for a long time. And so that's kind of was the model. And then solar became more of a mature market altogether. The market shifted like markets do in every industry. And then a lot of, companies just weren't able to kind of withstand that. And so as we've tried to, a couple of years ago, it was like our motto was just survive, right? Sure. And then this year our motto is thrive, not survive. Right. But we just really have been looking for something to kind of just differentiate us in the marketplace. And, we do all the installs in-house and we're a lot, more, I guess, of a tight knit. We don't take on a bunch of dealers, and like most of our people are kind of homegrown. Right. We've paid cash for everything we've done. So like we don't have any debt, but having this is just like that added tool in your tool belt. I think for us, we're really bullish on moving forward because right there, out there right now, you can still get in a bunch of price wars, right? Like we have sold Q-Cell for a long time, which I'll kind of segue maybe. What would you tell somebody that really loves Q-Cell, American made, all this stuff? How would you kind of push them towards the Maxion way? But all those products are good, right? They're good, they're fine if you talk about vehicles, but when we're talking about something that's really going to be built to last, not just a company, we feel like for us to be built to last, we need to partner with products that are built to last as well.
Right.
So I guess for you, when it comes to kind of the difference between if you have somebody that's like, hey, I've mostly sold Q-Cell or kind of the cheapest option, is there maybe a thought or two or a few things that you think could just kind of change their paradigm as far as looking at a product that is more quality but maybe is a little bit more expensive as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So, my resume that I shared with you earlier, was all about value type things.
Sure.
I resonate with selling value. Example, Mercedes-Benz. We all need a car, but nobody needs a Mercedes-Benz,
Sure.
right? People that are buying Mercedes-Benz they see a certain value that particular vehicle brings. For me, with what was SunPower and now is Maxion, the technology, the performance, the degradation rates, we have the highest efficiencies and the best warranty. If you look for peace of mind,
Sure.
right, there's nothing that's going to perform better than Maxion. But in our industry, we're used to talking about price per watt,
Sure.
right? That's how salespeople are kind of conditioned. That's how they're thinking. But really, when you're talking to your customer, what they're really getting is price per kilowatt hour.
Sure.
Right? That's what they're buying is kilowatt hours.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So Maxion, IBC technology, is going to create more kilowatt hours than any other module out there. So they're going to get a better return on their investment for a longer period of time, right? It's warranted for 40 years, 88%. Everybody else is 25 years at 88% and or less. Their warranties don't cover shipping and labor.
Sure.
We do. I'm not going to name modules out there, but I've talked with other dealers that have had poor experiences even getting replacement modules, a lot of warranty returns.
Sure.
Especially in a harsh climate like ours. It's exceptionally hot with a lot of variation in heat. So if you can expose those pain points with the homeowner, right? Have you ever had a bad experience with a warranty at home?
Yeah. I mean, as
like
a homeowner,
what was
yeah.
it? Yeah.
Well, it was my freaking home warranty.
Okay, great. And what was that like?
Kind of felt like a ripoff and kind of pointless.
Right. That's kind of funny. I had one too, right? I moved here from Albuquerque to Phoenix. I had a similar situation with my air conditioner, but I still had to pay the labor. Right. I still had to pay for the service call.
Yeah.
They covered the part. I'm like, and I still was out of pocket a lot.
Sure.
I was like, well, this warranty didn't really do much for me.
Yeah, and I'd say that comes up a lot in the home is like, what are the asterisks attached to warranties, right? Because it's like, because there are, I mean, I won't name names, but inverters, panel manufacturers, things like that. Like there's always this kind of asterisk.
Yeah.
But one thing that I thought was really awesome about Maxion is like there's not. Like usually the asterisk in panels is like, labor, shipping, things like that.
Right.
But with Maxion, it's all inclusive.
Yes, exactly. And what people don't, or homeowners don't realize is like with a panel warranty, okay, yes, we cover the labor, but what about the shipping?
Right.
A lot of homeowners don't realize that panel doesn't come on the UPS truck.
Right.
It's coming on a freight truck. Okay, that's expensive. And oftentimes, if there is a failure in a module or a panel, in our industry you call it module, if there is a failure in the panel, that manufacturer is typically going to want that back so they can understand why it failed.
Right.
That's on the customer's dime.
Jeez.
So it doesn't feel very good. So you have to pay for your new panel to get here,
Right.
pay for the labor to get up on your roof, and pay for the other one to go back. You don't have that with Maxion. So it's great peace of mind for your homeowner. Plus,
That's why it's the best warranty you'll never need.
Exactly. See, I'm going to get you saying it.
Yeah, no, he's got me. I'm on board.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of an interesting thing because obviously SunPower and Maxion for a long time being partnered or tied at the hip. Obviously there's people out there that since SunPower's went out of business and Maxion has obviously been looking for other avenues, but not, I guess what's kind of been if you don't mind opening up a little bit of if there have been challenges, Maxion, because obviously you have a great product that was basically kind of put in a box with SunPower, right? Like that's a SunPower product, where now it's like, well, no, we're not. We're our own thing. Has there been any challenges or things that you guys have had to kind of work through on that front just to get people to be a little bit more open to trying Maxion?
Sure, absolutely. So that's a deep question,
Sure.
especially for the Phoenix market. SunPower originally had what they called a installing dealer channel, which is like what you are, okay, or what we would consider Bright Home Energy as an installing dealer. In 2019, SunPower developed a non-installing dealer channel, and basically it was a sales org type deal. So they just bring on sales teams, sell SunPower systems, but SunPower would take care of the rest. They would do the design and engineering. They'd had their own installers, and they would install the systems. So when SunPower set that up here in the Phoenix market, it really frustrated and hurt a lot of installing dealers in the network.
Sure.
So with SunPower's demise last year, SunPower didn't have an installing dealer network.
Right.
It was basically just sales teams.
Gotcha.
So SunPower had seasoned sales teams that knew the Maxion product and how to sell Maxion, but they were accustomed to working with a dealer that would, or an installer that would install those systems. So creating those relationships, my role is to bring on new, installers.
Sure.
Most of the installers aren't familiar with SunPower product or Maxion product, or if they were, their perception is that it's more expensive, which is true, but they didn't really grasp the fact that it's a better technology, better warranty, better peace of mind for the homeowner, and more power production for the homeowner. So if you can get a dealer partner like yourself, like Bright Home is engaged in, where they're not afraid to sell the value. They're tired of going to the kitchen table and your salesperson shows a Q-Cell product.
Sure.
Okay. And the homeowner's like, great, this is fantastic, but XYZ Solar was here too, and they showed me the Q-Cell product, and they're cheaper than you. Now that salesperson is frustrated
I actually
because
just ran into that as the owner of the company. I'm like,
you're frustrated because now you are selling on price and you're not selling on value.
Yeah.
And Maxion takes that out of the equation. Now you can maintain your price because you have the best product at the best value with the best warranty, the best installation.
Right.
Why would the homeowner go with anything else? Right. And a good seasoned salesperson that understands how to sell the value can almost be arrogant at the table. And if demonstrated properly, the homeowner is almost like they don't want to go with anything else but Maxion because they understand the technology is better, the performance is better, the warranty is better, and they make that choice. So
and I think it's definitely shifting the conversation with the homeowners probably at the right time, because now more than ever, if lenders are listening to this, anyways, dealer fees, right? Like that's the one thing that even lenders to our face will be like, man, what? You can't tell people that. We charge you that, and then you charge them. And I'm like, how does that even make sense? But I mean, they're asking about interest rate, leasing, is there an escalator, no escalator, like, all this stuff, to where it's like more than ever, I think, just because solar's been around, people are more educated that like having a quality product definitely positions you, because like I mentioned, I got into a price battle with Q-Cell, and it's like, I could sell Bright Home, and they'd actually had been with Bright Home before, so that carried weight, but having just that extra, if you want this great product, it's only going to come with a great installer, is a lot more powerful than just like, hey, I know we're a little bit more, but like, remember we took care of you last time, and so it's just kind of one of those things. But I guess for you, there obviously are people, we're only focused on Arizona, not every market that you're in, but one thing that we're also trying to differentiate ourselves, opening up the doors a little bit for people that have solar experience. Our model was more just in-house, no previous experience, kind of molded from the ground up, but solar's changed. We realize, there are still good quality people out there that want a good home. And so I guess, I don't know if you have a message to those people who maybe used to sell Maxion, worked at SunPower, and how are they able to do that again?
Fantastic. So again, Maxion's excited about engaging in our partnership with Bright Home Energy. SunPower does have some veteran salespeople that I think are quality, that as this grows and evolves and you want to expand your team, I think they'd be a great fit for them. I think for sales teams, they want to have quality installations.
Right.
They don't like selling something and then after the contract get the phone calls. This is going wrong. This is going wrong. And it's like, because they're not in control of that. Right. And so it's frustrating. So when they have the confidence that they got an installer behind them that's going to take care of them. But even for those that are not seasoned or veteran salespeople, that's the benefit that Maxion, we feel we bring to the table is you get me. I'm more than happy to come in and work with your team.
Awesome.
Train them how to sell the value of Maxion and sell a differentiated product. Why is it different from everybody else? Do the demonstrations and coach them on how to do these demonstrations at the kitchen table so that by the end, the home is ready to move forward, right? And they don't want anything but Maxion installed by Bright Home Energy. They want the best. And that's the goal. Again, Bright Home Energy, you guys have fantastic reviews. That's, we don't want just any partner. We want key partners that can enhance the warranties that we bring, the product that we bring. It's no good to Maxion to have an install partner that's not quality, does not pride themselves in their reviews, has poor reviews. That's not going to be favorable for us in the future. And so, again, we're excited about that. Any energy consultants that have sold SunPower in the past, if you're watching this podcast, you know me. If you don't know Tyler here, know how to get in touch with Tyler, you can certainly get in touch with me and I can make the connection as well.
I mean, I think the cool part is, and where we're focused on, is bringing value, right? Like, because anybody can get in front of somebody that sold solar, say whatever you want. We have fastest timelines, we have this, we have that. But like, at the end of the day, what we're looking for is partnerships that are going to help last in collaboration. Like, you're the first manufacturer for panels that's like offered to come in and actually like teach us about it, right? Like, we do like Solar Edge. I'll give them a little shout out. Jeremy's in here all the time, and that means a lot. Like, even Dividend, they're one of our favorite lenders. Why? Because they like pick up the phone, they pop by, like just the little things. Like, I feel like in this technological world where it's like virtual assistants, AI, like, where did we kind of lose that person-to-person touch? So if you're, we're also going to be putting on some workshops, I think, over the next couple months of just an open event. So if you're somebody that is in the solar industry, and even if you just want to learn about Maxion, maybe you're happy with where you're at but want to learn more about the product, we're going to host a couple open houses with TJ and Maxion to where we can just educate you more about what's out there. And I'll be honest, we were a little closed off because we met 6-8 months ago, and it was just kind of like, okay, it's just another option that's more expensive. Like, that was literally what like we were thinking. And then kind of following it up, like, you obviously showed up and you had value, not just with the panels, but some relationships. And we're just like, oh yeah, maybe we ought to give this a look. And then all of a sudden we're like, wow, like, this is literally the best product that we have never looked at. And that's almost how we feel. Like, we're like the best kept secret in Arizona, but the secret's getting out, which is good. So as far as that goes, as far as Maxion or anything else, any other things that you think the people ought to know about Maxion? Or I guess for me, a better question, like, what's coming down the pipeline? Because, we've kind of talked about here and now and a little bit of the past, but like, let's give everybody just a quick glimpse into the future.
Sure. So a couple things. One, we have leased a building in Albuquerque that we are retrofitting to start manufacturing in Albuquerque, which we're excited about. That's forecasted Q1 of 26, so we're looking forward to that. Our next gen product, we're super excited about that. I can't get into a whole lot of details about that, but like, presently our efficiency ratings are 21 to 22% efficiency. Our next gen product is going to be 24, 25% efficiency. Many manufacturers are going, 470 watt panels, 500 watt panels. But the challenge there is the panel is getting bigger. We're going to be able to do that. We're going to have like a 460, 470 watt module, but in the 410, 415 size range that you're seeing now. So some exciting things coming. We're talking Q4-ish on that this year. So real excited about things going on with Maxion, the future, and Again, that's still going to have a 40-year warranty with a 24 to 25% efficiency.
Sure.
I think that will be a real game changer. Our leadership is really working to bring some efficiencies into our manufacturing that pricing is going to be even more competitive to
word on the
Q-Cell,
street, you're
right?
going to rival
So
Q-Cell.
that's their focus. They want to go after that manufacturer and get their market share.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that, and it'll be great. The future's bright.
No, definitely bright. No
Which is
pun
necessary because our industry it's had some challenges the last year and a half.
Yeah, it has, and through the last couple of years, I mean, I think that's where we've really just centered our focus. Is like we started, and I kind of say this every podcast, but like our whole mission from the beginning was, if you take care of your people, treat them right, train them right, give them the best tools, that's naturally going to permeate to taking care of your customers. Yeah. Take care of your customers, you take care of your people, you're going to be built to last long term. And I think Maxeon obviously, doing the same. Like you're offering a quality product, and the cool part is like you're willing to put your name on it for 40 freaking years, which is like that in and of itself is like a confidence, as well as like, hey, we're the best product that's out there, and we're going to give you the best warranty that you'll never need. But shameless plug there. Right. But that speaks volumes, because with solar being so turbulent, like that's always comes up of like, not only like what happens if Bright Home goes out of business. Okay, we cover that. Well, what about the manufacturer? And it's just like it's just kind of that endless road. So I think you guys are bringing peace of mind and quality to a sector right now that like really needs it.
Thank you. So we, it's kind of funny you bring that up. I talking about SunPower, they did go bankrupt last year, right? They have a lot of installed systems, and the majority of them are IBC technology systems, or Maxeon systems. Maxeon was under no obligation to do so, but we chose to cover the warranty for those homeowners.
Wow.
We didn't have to do that.
Right.
But from my perspective, there's a limited risk, really, because again, the failure isn't going to be in the module. It's going to be something else in all likelihood. But we just felt it was the right thing to do. Because again, seeing a manufacturer or a company like SunPower that's been around for 40 years going out of business, that's not good for our industry, right? We've experienced we call it the solar coaster, right? Sure. The ups and downs, and so we felt it was the right thing to do, and that's how Maxeon is, and that's why we want to partner with teams like yourself, right? We want to do what's right for the homeowner. I look at referrals, right?
Sure.
A great referral is, look, this is a construction project.
Yeah.
People don't really talk about solar as being a construction project, but it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you've ever had a construction project in your home, which most every homeowner has, they don't always go according to plan, right? So the key is did the contractor take care of it and make the homeowner satisfied?
Yeah.
That's a better referral. And looking at Bright Home Energy, you guys, you're top notch, and we're excited about that. And we feel that just aligns nicely with Maxeon's methodologies as well. Yeah.
Oh, birds of a feather flock together.
Yes.
So, well, TJ, man, appreciate you coming on. I know it was a little bit last minute. And thank you all for checking out another episode. If you're a customer interested in the Maxeon product, feel free to hit us up on our website. You can like this, subscribe it. If you're a salesperson interested in selling the product and partnering with two solid companies that are going to be built to last, hit us up. We'd love to chat more. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thanks, man.
That was great.
Easy peasy.